Okay, the time is 4:34. I will call to order the January 24th meeting of the Police Commission. We have a quorum with Commissioner Collier Clemens and Mayor Rilling. First item on the agenda is approval of the minutes of November 15th, 2021. Do I have a motion? Okay, any corrections, deletions, or omissions? Commissioner, you're on mute. I know.
I move approval of minutes, okay? Yes,
Okay.
there are corrections.
Okay,
On page 2 and page 3, it's the same correction. In the first paragraph, in the parentheses, sentence, commissioners, remove the apostrophe.
Yep.
Remove the apostrophe and the next where it says the commissioners. Where it says civilian award dispatchers.
Yep.
Remove the apostrophe. The parenthesized sentence, remove the apostrophe from commissioners and dispatchers. And on page 3, remove the parentheses in the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th line where it says special victims. Remove that parenthesis, that apostrophe, and also in commissioners.
Okay. Any further corrections, omissions, deletions?
None that I see.
Okay, all in favor of approving the minutes as corrected?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries unanimously. Do we have any, next item is public comment. Do we have anybody wishing to address the Police Commission?
So anybody who would like to speak, just click the raise hand button on the bottom bar of your screen, and then I'll ask you to unmute, and then you can speak. But at the moment, it doesn't look like we have anybody willing.
Okay, and does the chief or deputy chief have any correspondence, or commissioner have any correspondence that you've received that needs to be read into the minutes?
No.
Seeing none, we'll close public session. Next item on the agenda, recognition for November Officer of the Month, Officer David Geismer, and December Officer of the Month, Officer Stephen Kauff. Chief?
So first for November, obviously we didn't have a December meeting. So this is going back to November. As you may recall, Officer Geismar is a task force officer for United States Marshal Service. And he does a lot of work with them on our behalf, as well as other agencies, tracking fugitives that are wanted on serious violations. And during the month of November, he was instrumental in tracking 2 murder suspects that were wanted by Stanford and Meriden police departments. He tracked both, 2 different cases, but both were in Florida. He tracked them, made arrangements with the U.S. Marshals in Florida. They were taken into custody and extradited back to Connecticut to face charges. I also got a call last week, actually, from the Connecticut Chief U.S. Marshal for Connecticut, who wanted to just let me know how much they appreciated Officer Geismer's work, how well he works with them, the outstanding work that he does. He couldn't say enough about him and was thankful that he's assigned. This is a part-time assignment. Basically, it's done while he's working, except for if there's fugitive apprehensions and things like that. Sometimes they'll do that in the morning or on a day off or something, but that's paid by the U.S. Marshal Service. So there's no cost to us, but it does give us a huge benefit. He has resources that we wouldn't otherwise have. But again, he's helped a number of other agencies as well. And we wanted to recognize him for Officer of the Month for November. And then for December, we want to recognize Officer Stephen Kauff. This is regarding a shooting that had occurred at King Kennedy housing complex on December 10th. He was just monitoring the radio and heard the broadcast. He also heard a basic description of a vehicle. He saw a vehicle that was driving erratically and suspected it may be one and the same. He tried to stop it. The vehicle fled, crashed a short distance away. The two occupants fled on foot, but they were apprehended and hiding nearby shortly thereafter. They later searched the vehicle and located the firearm that was used in the shooting incident. And again, I joined Sergeant DeLallo in commending him for his observation plus his excellent police work in apprehending the two without any further incident. And we want to recognize him for Officer of the Month for December. And they were both invited, but I don't know if they're here or not. I don't think so.
No, I don't see them. Okay, Commissioner Collier Clemens.
Always forget to unmute myself. Yes, I'd just like to add my congratulations to both of these officers for their fine work in cooperation, Geismar, with the U.S. Marshals, and for the excellent work that Officer Kauff did in apprehending two suspects in the event that had happened.
Thank you. And I too echo Commissioner Collier Clemens's comments. The two obviously very different scenarios, one working with the federal agency to apprehend violent felons. And, it just shows that partnerships between state and local and federal agencies can be very effective. And we appreciate the partnership that we have with the U.S. Marshals. Certainly appreciate Officer Geismar for the outstanding work that he does. And for Officer Kauff, another great set of great example of police work. Also an example of a very dangerous situation that could have turned out a very, very different way, but with the officer's skills and the assistance of some of the other officers who came to cover, they made a successful apprehension. So congratulations to both of those officers for outstanding police work, and certainly congratulations on behalf of the Board of Police Commissioners. Okay, operations report, patrol staffing. I know that Deputy Chief Walsh is currently in the FBI Academy in Quantico, and who's is chief or Chief Zecca?
Yeah, I can take it. So he provided you with both. He did these before he left, so he left these for the packet. He provided November and December staffing, patrol staffing, and selective enforcement. And you'll see that we had 166 sworn in at the end of November, down to 164 at the end of December. So we had 17 vacancies at the end of December. Sick time and workers' comp time were pretty consistent with previous months, as well as each other for November, December. For the Detective Bureau, you'll notice they made some arrests on several issues that were occurring. Car thefts and burglaries, they obtained warrants for the suspect who had been responsible for numerous overnight car burglaries and car thefts. And with DNA, et cetera, they were able to link him to quite a few additional cases. Was still incarcerated last we checked, and our car burglary and larceny of vehicles has been much lower as a result of him not being out there. A couple other serious cases that we're taking care of. Detective Ciro arrested a suspect for arson and criminal mischief. And then in December, I mentioned the shooting that we had, but Officer Kauff made the arrest, so that case was closed. For special services, they made a seizure of 5 pounds of marijuana in November, and that investigation is still ongoing with the parcel carrier. The U.S. Marshals arrest that I mentioned earlier. And you'll see for December, Officer Geismer arrested served 3 Norwalk warrants and 2 out-of-state felony warrants for us. He was active and very active in November, December. Special victims. They've been busy with the schools. As you know, we had a number of incidents in the schools with threats that they've brought to a successful conclusion. Also, the vaping issue at Brian McMahon, that's still under investigation. And there was an interesting case where an adult boarded one of the school buses and was threatening one of the children on the bus. They were able to identify him. It took a little bit of work, but they were able to identify the individual, and they ended up making an arrest in that case as well. Community policing and traffic unit. Both units, as you know, we removed some staffing from the community police unit because of patrol manpower issues. They're still operating. They're still doing quite a bit with a few less people. The traffic unit, one of the traffic officers has been out on long-term workers' comp. And the second one had also been out temporarily. So their activity was much lower as a result of being out of work. And in December, you recall, we did the Citizen Academy graduation. I'm sorry, November, the Stuffer Cruiser. And then we had applied for a grant for auto theft patrols. It was a state provided money funded till the end of December for extra enforcement and also cooperation between agencies. So we partnered with our surrounding towns, Darien, Stanford, et cetera, and worked on that with the community police unit. In December, the children's party, and they also distributed over 1,000 gifts around the community. And also Delgado was instrumental in that. Total criminal arrests, November 131, and then in December 157. Our calls for service continue to be lower than had been, even though things are getting more back to normal with COVID. They're still much lower than we used to experience. So thankfully, it's remained low. And then you also have the selective enforcement report. And again, because the traffic unit has been, 2 of them were out injured for quite a while, and 1 is still out. Their numbers were down, so our overall traffic enforcement is down. A lot of this is basically patrol as opposed to the traffic unit conducting the bulk of the traffic enforcement. And then finally, you have the Detective Bureau caseload for November and December. And you'll see that the numbers there are also down. Serious incidents are down month to month, but also year to year, which is a good thing. And they have right now 1 detective short because Officer Collins, or Detective Collins, was at the FBI, not the National Academy, but the FBI Academy to be a FBI agent. And he graduated December or something, I forget the date. So obviously he will not be back. I'm expecting his resignation momentarily. Actually, it may have already come. I've been out. So today, I don't know if it's there right now. And I guess that's it, unless you have questions.
Hey, Commissioner Collier Clemens?
Is that Brendan? Is that Brendan Collins?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Brendan.
Okay.
Yeah, we're sorry to lose him, actually, but
Yeah, really. Well, congratulations.
a good officer.
Congratulations, Dawn.
Yeah, it was a dream of his to be an FBI agent. That's something he always wanted. And after discussing it with his family and his wife, and it's a big move, not just going to the academy, but leaving the area, because obviously he's going to be transferred somewhere. They don't place you where you're from when you get out of the academy. So I believe he's going to Boston, from what I recall, where he's being assigned.
Not a bad assignment.
No, it's always going to be one of the major offices where they need the agents, Boston, New York, or Miami, or Los Angeles. So he was happy to get Boston, which is what he preferred, since it's still nearby.
Yeah. All right, Commissioner Collier Clemens, any questions?
No questions.
I know that Fred Green retired. I'm just wondering if we're still, how we're doing on trying to get some of the long-term compensation compensatory illnesses back to work.
They have a new person that's taking his caseload, but they haven't really gotten up to speed yet. They're just going through the files, and we're going to be meeting with her, I believe, next week, I think. She had called to set up an appointment with us to go over all the cases. And as you know, in the executive session, 2 of those cases have paperwork filed for disability pensions.
Mhm. Okay. Next up is the Administrative Services Report, Deputy Chief Zecca.
I'll go through November 1st. Obviously, we had the monthly training for the specialty teams, SCUBA, TRT, crisis negotiation, or drone operators. That's their regular monthly training to keep their skills proficient. And then the bulk of the rest was all our review credit training for those officers to keep their recertifications, rape, crisis, sexual assault, housing and legal matters was actually for the entire department that went out to as an online training. We're doing some more online training things to supplement our regular training. The domestic violence is review credit, juvenile matters, hate crimes, gangs, narcotics and drugs, and weapons and permits are all our regular review credit training, as well as cultural awareness and diversity. And then we had additionally our firearms, low light and use of force training for many of the officers. And then those officers who needed to recertify for their NCIC certification, which expires every couple of years. That's our, the computer. So that is the bulk of the training for November. And then for December, again, we have the standard, our standard tactical team training, but as well as we added a new crisis negotiator. So he went to a longer training to get up to speed there, and continued the housing matters for the department as they're completing that training. And then we have continued the low light training and use of force training, as well as the patrol supervisors. We had stop stick training for, should the need be for forcible stops. We carry stop sticks in the back of the patrol supervisors' vehicles. So we did a recertification on that. And then officers had annual taser training and proficiency training in OC. And their review credit training for hate and bias crimes, juvenile matters, domestic violence, gangs and juvenile matters, and domestic violence. Those are as each, basically a third of the department goes through review credit training each year. And so there'll be multiple classes over the course of a couple of months to get that third of the department trained in those areas.
Okay, Thank you. Commissioner Collier Clemens, any questions?
I have no questions. I just want to say that I'm really glad for all of these classes, and that they're taught in such a way that the officers retain the information and are able to use it in the moment when they interact on their various cases. This is just remarkable. Thank you so much.
Yeah, it's good to see a lot of training ongoing. I think our department, outside of just the review credit training, which is due every 3 years, is probably one of the most highly trained police departments anywhere. Training is ongoing, and it's really, really good to see. And like you mentioned, Commissioner, time and time again, we see the officers involved in situations where it's obvious that their training and experience
Absolutely.
has played a wonderful part or a good part in bringing it to a successful conclusion. So.
No, the one other thing I'll mention, Mayor and Commissioner, is that in our use of force training, we have continued to integrate the simulator, the recent simulator purchase into that training so that they get scenario-based training.
Great. It's great.
And I don't know if we made the offer. If we haven't, I apologize, but you're welcome to stop in and take a look at it and try it out. It's interesting and it's very high tech.
I'd be afraid to realize how much of my skills I've lost since I've left the department.
Well, I won't be afraid since mine have never been tested.
But
I'll give you a call.
It gives you a true appreciation, though, for a live scenario and what an officer has to make a decision in a split second. And I've always said that for the vast majority of the time, it seems that officers make a good decision, and a lot of it has to do with their training and experience, because they know that they'll be judged by lawyers, judges, the public, and it's not an easy thing. Okay, moving on to the personnel matters. We have a drop request for Detective Courtney Downer. Do I have a motion?
I move the drop request from Courtney Downer.
Chief?
Yeah, it's a standard request. He's eligible for retirement, but has chosen to enter the drop plan instead. And for some reason, I don't have the second page of this. So if I recall, it was a 5-year drop, but
I have it. It's 5 years.
Yeah, ending January the 1st, December 31st, 2027.
Mhm. Yep. Okay. Any questions? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries unanimously. Now we have an application for tuition reimbursement for Officer Robert Castaldi. Do I have a motion?
I so move.
Chief?
yeah, actually, it's a standard reimbursement request. He provided the documentation. However, I was notified by the deputy chief that Commissioner Collier Clemens noted that the amount was actually incorrect. He was eligible to get half of the total tuition of $4,170 with the fee, and only asked for 50% of that, which meant 50% of that reimbursed, so 25% total. In actuality, that amount should be $2,085 reimbursement.
So does he have to do another application? Do we make the correction? Do you make the correction?
I would ask that you make a motion to approve it, and then I'll make the correction on the original form with a note that, the commission approved the different amount.
Okay. All right.
Okay, so we'll make a motion that Officer Robert Castaldi be reimbursed pursuant to contract between the City of Norwalk and the Norwalk Police Union, and that the chief will make the adjustments and so that he gets the proper amount. So all in favor? sorry, go ahead.
Aye.
I'm sorry, did you have a question, Commissioner?
No, I don't have a question. I thought you wanted me to make that motion.
Oh, yeah, make the motion.
Okay, the motion is made that the corrections will be made according to the contract, and that adjustments will be made by Chief, and we approve this tuition reimbursement for Castaldi.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Next is Officer Danielle Vesquez for reimbursement. Do I have a motion?
I move for reimbursement for Vesquez.
Chief, or,
Yep, again, this is a standard request. This is correct. The total was 3,010, and he's requesting half of that by contract 1505. It was approved in September of last year, the course, and he has a documentation to back up the request.
okay. Any questions, Commissioner?
No questions.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Next item is the tuition reimbursement for Sergeant Sophia Galena. I have a motion.
I move tuition reimbursement for Sergeant Galena.
Okay,
I want to point out something. You'll see that there's a course approval request from Sergeant Galeno as well. She did not request approval for the course prior. She has a request for course approvals for her master's later in the packet. I would ask that you approve both the approval of the courses as well as the tuition reimbursement of $14.15 for the first course towards her master's at Sacred Heart.
flipping back to the course approval. Commissioner, you want to add that to the tuition reimbursement request?
Yes, I can do that. Move course approval for Sergeant Galena in pursuit of a master's in social work degree, according to what she has written, and also for tuition reimbursement for the course already taken in the amount of $1,415.
Okay, any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries unanimously. Next, we have Sergeant Rafael Fonseca. Tuition reimbursement, Commissioner Clement.
I move tuition reimbursement for Rafael Fonseca in the amount of $2,937.32.
Okay,
Again, this is the standard request. He has the documentation in the packet to back up the reimbursement.
any questions, Commissioner?
No questions.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Next is tuition reimbursement request for Lieutenant Zwickler. Commissioner,
I move tuition reimbursement for Lieutenant Ziegler in the amount of $1,787.50. Oh, no, I'm sorry. $893.25. Excuse me.
okay, Chief, any questions or any comments or?
No, this course was pre-approved, and he has the documentation in the packet to back up the reimbursement.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries unanimously. Next item on the agenda is course approval for Officer Robert Castaldi. Commissioner,
I move course approval for Castaldi.
Yeah, I neglected to catch this earlier, but the course that you are approving, or that he's asking to be approved, is the course that is the course for the reimbursement. earlier in the meeting. Apparently, the original course that he got approval for was not available, and he had to take a substitute course to finish his degree. And therefore, the request is after, the approval being requested after the fact, so to speak.
Chief, if I could just mention, there's actually 2 courses he was asking for reimbursement for. One of them he had not, one of them is what you're speaking of, and one of them he had approved previously.
Correct, that was, yeah.
Okay, Commissioner? I think you're, you need to move this.
Oh, yes, I move, now we're just moving the approval of the course for this, for Castaldi for the substitution course.
Commissioner, I think you need to approve the course and then also approve the tuition reimbursement, because I'm not sure that you approved both tuition reimbursements in the first place.
Oh.
I might be
Okay.
mistaken.
Yeah, I
Okay.
think that the total included both.
No, there, one would be for a 2,000 reimbursement, one would be for a 1,000 reimbursement,
Yeah, one of the,
of which both of them, he only applied for half of each of them.
okay, so I make a motion,
Totally confused.
Yeah, I'm confused now.
I make a motion. There are 2 tuition reimbursements due Castaldi for which he has applied. And according to the contract payment, Chief Kauff will make the correct adjustments as to the correct amount. I'm also moving course approval for Castaldi for the substitute course that he had to take in order to finish his degree. I'm finished, Mayor.
Okay, that's a good motion. Thank you. All in favor?
I think so. Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Now, the next one is course approval, Officer Danielle Vesquez.
I move course approval for Daniel Vesquez.
Officer Vasquez is working towards his master's at Sacred Heart. This is another course in that quest, strategic communications in a digital age.
Okay. Any questions, Commissioner?
No, I see that we have two course approvals for him.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, yeah, she didn't put them together. Okay, yeah, there's a second one for public sector communication as well.
Right. So, okay, I make a move for course approval for Daniel Vesquez for both courses that he has identified in his application.
okay, any questions? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Next is course approval for Lieutenant Terry Blake. You gotta find that paperwork in here. Okay, I have a motion.
Okay, move course approval for Lieutenant Terrence Blake.
This is requesting, he's going towards finishing his Bachelor's of Science at Sacred Heart, and it's 6 classes in crisis intervention training that he's requesting. He didn't list the names of them, but at least in the paperwork I have, but I can verify the names of the courses afterwards.
Okay. Any questions, Commissioner?
He's actually on the meeting. He's the second person with my name on the meeting. He may be able to give us course names at the moment? Possibly? Lieutenant?
I apologize that I don't.
Okay, maybe not. Apparently he doesn't have a very good connection.
Okay, well, my comment on this is we know that he has 6 classes, but when he comes for tuition, this is just a comment. This is not a motion. When it comes for tuition reimbursement, if between now and then he can give us the names of those courses, that would be very helpful for us.
In front of me. I apologize, Chief. The specific names?
Yes.
Okay, so.
So I move for approval of the 6 classes with more information on the specific courses as they become available.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Next is a master's degree annual stipend request from Lieutenant Jared Zwickler, Commissioner.
I move the tuition, not tuition reimbursement, the stipend for the master's degree for Lieutenant Zickler.
He completed his master's at John Jay College of Criminal Justice, provided his diploma, and requesting the contractual tuition stipend.
Okay. Looks like he had 42 credits. Good. Any questions?
Congratulations to
Yeah.
Lieutenant Zickler.
Very good.
Quite an accomplishment.
Yep.
And to
3
all our master's degree graduates.
3.75 GPA. And now we have a bachelor's degree annual stipend request from Officer Robert Castaldi. Motion.
I move the item.
I don't, oh, I do have it.
I don't see the, I don't have it in my packet.
I don't
have
have
the
it in my
degree.
packet either.
I have the
It was-
degree, but I
it
don't
was
have
a-
the request.
The degree was attached to one of your tuition reimbursement.
Oh, one of the
requests. It
papers
was
that
at-
was by itself.
a copy of the degree was attached to the back.
Oh, okay. Well, it came loose in our package, so. And I don't know where that paper is now. But anyway, okay. So I make the motion that stipend for a bachelor's degree according to contractual agreement be awarded to Robert Castaldi.
I just found it, yes, as the deputy chief said, it's the last page of the first reimbursement request. He has his diploma for Bachelor of Science in Criminal Justice from University of New Haven.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries unanimously. Informational items, complimentary letters, Chief.
Okay, this is from November, December. Letter from Chief Heavey from Greenwich. Our honor guard participated in the Blue Mass, which was held in Greenwich this year. He sent a letter thanking the honor guard for attending. Had a letter, actually an email from a resident that was the victim of a swatting incident, where officers were dispatched to their home. It turned out to be, obviously, it wasn't a real call, it was a swatting incident, but she was very impressed with how the officers handled it and their professionalism, as well as their the fact that she said they made a very scary situation much less so. The Norwalk Housing Authority sent a memo, a copy of a memo regarding the food distribution in which Norwalk police officer assisted in the turkey giveaway. You have an email from U.S. Marshal for Connecticut, Deputy U.S. Marshal Duffy regarding Officer Geismer. This again is related to his phone call to me regarding the work that he has done. There's a email from State's Attorney Suzanne View. She was commenting on, as part of most criminal cases now, they request a body camera of the officer, and she reviews most of those, well, all of them if they're going to go forward or if they're going to plead not guilty. And she emailed commending Officer Nievelis's handling of the suspect and also the neighbors in this particular incident after watching the body cam. It was a mental health issue, and she was very impressed with how his demeanor de-escalated the situation. A letter from the Fairfield County Bank commending the department and especially Detective Sura regarding a bank robbery that occurred at their location. We had a reply on social media from a resident. Actually, the second half got cut off, but she was thanking all the officers who had responded to a call that she was a victim of. Newark Public Schools sent in an email commending Officer Taborda regarding one of the hoaxes that occurred and the work that he did in his calm demeanor and handling that at Newark High School. A handwritten note commending Officer Zavitz. It was regarding a property line dispute that we actually could not really assist them because it ended up being a civil matter, but she was very complimentary of the fact that he was able to responded, reviewed it, and explained why it was not a police matter, but also what she could do to try to remedy the situation. And finally, a thank you email from one of the parents whose daughter and son attended the children's holiday party, the Sono holiday party at Columbus School that the community police unit handled. She's just thanking everyone for the party there. And then this is now for December. This is from somebody from Newark Public Schools. This is where she works, but she was commenting on how Officer Martinez was investigated a cyber blackmailing of her son and investigated it, and he was very reassuring. She was very appreciative of the work that he did on that. An email from Mr. Sneed, who emailed me just advising, actually it was a text message, but I converted it to an email so I could put it in the packet. Just to say he had an incident, medical issue, and Officer Amparo responded, and he was very impressed with how he handled it and wanted to just thank us for the good work. And then an incident, email from an incident regarding Officer James Casimis, Officer Keith Tereso, and Sergeant Dominic Cicero. Is regarding a family member who there was an issue with a child regarding a text message, and the officers responded. They're thinking that there was something seriously wrong, but they were able to investigate it and reassured everyone. And she just wanted to let us know she appreciated the officers and how they responded. And then finally, an email regarding Officer Tyrone Boyd. This is regarding people got the door closed on the train and people got stuck on the platform, or part of the family got stuck on the platform. And Officer Boyd happened to be in the area, just, assisted them and actually dropped them off at the next station so they could meet the train and be reunited with their family. They had some young children. It was very cold, standing on the platform. And that is all for November and December.
I think there was one from the bank on Broad River. I don't know if you mentioned that one or not. I didn't.
Yeah, you mentioned it.
Oh, he did. Okay.
Mhm.
All right. So now, okay.
I'd just like to say that this email regarding the young girl and her crisis call
Yeah.
is a testament to our instructions and our courses that are given our officers. This is directly, because how she mentions how they were able to speak to the child, the course on children's interviewing children, and how they intake that information, and then they are able to apply it to real situations is just remarkable. And I just please tell the officers thank you.
And a tremendous number of letters in a short 2-month period of time. And it really just, again, shows the professionalism and training that our department has. And what a grateful community we have. People are, if they have a problem, they do not hesitate to call and complain, and rightfully so. But also it's very gratifying when they take the time to write on behalf of an officer that they felt did a remarkable job. So again,
Absolutely.
congratulations to the officers. So that is the informational items. And now I need a motion for us to go into executive session.
I move that we go into executive session.
For the item listed on the agenda. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. It is 5:22 and we will head to executive session.
Okay. We have to leave this.
Yep.
Okay, we're out of executive session at 5:37. The time is now 5:38. We are back in public session. During executive session, no motions were made and no votes were taken. Commissioner Clemens?
Okay. We are,
You want to make a motion relative to the executive session topic?
I move that that we
Approve?
yes, approve the 2 requests for disability pensions for Gabera and Mulkern as submitted.
Any discussion? Just in executive session, both officers were there and we thank them for their service on behalf of the city and wish them well in the future. So if there's no further discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Motion carries. Again, we wish them well. There's no further business to come before the commission. The next meeting will be February 28th, 2022 at 4:15 p.m. Do I have a motion?
I so move adjournment.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And at 5:40, we are adjourned. Thank you. Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you.
Take care.
Have a good night.
Thank you.
Night.